Look, I'm not gonna mince words. I'm a very simple man. I'm a simple man with very simple desires. One of which is I want to play exciting video games with action, drama, customization, all of that, all the fun stuff. Another part of that is sometimes I want to play video games that have pretty ladies in them. I got a couple pretty ladies on my shelf. Look at this. You see that pretty lady? You see that? Alright, now it's getting weird. Point is, there's some people who want to take that away from me, away from you, the red-blooded male consumer. We're going to take a look at these prudes today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and let's get right into it. Now, as I've said, I'm a simple man, okay? Look, I play Resident Evil 2 the normal way through, and then maybe after I've beaten it, I might go download the bikini mod or one. There's way worse ones than this, let's be clear. But, I mean, am I a bad person for doing this? Am I a bad person for enjoying the fact that video games can not only be exciting, action-packed things, but also exciting, titillating, sexy? I mean, these things are made for men, mostly. I'm not saying there aren't video games for women, and there are some video games which are very serious, dramatic things that aren't trying to be sexy. But a lot of these games, let's be clear, I mean, this is like a classic action movie, like a James Bond. You know, the Bond girls, very exciting to look at. Why not? What's the problem? They're always coming down on guys like me, okay, and saying we're horrible perverts for playing these games. Again, not just the bikini mod, but the game in general. They say that the women are too attractive, they're too hot. You're not allowed to play a game with a hot woman. Who's telling me that? The Bloomberg group. I don't know why a business magazine feels the need to tell me I'm disgusting for playing these video games. But I do want to say, I mean, I think this article is misplaced in the way they're talking about this, because they're saying it's sexist. I'll say it's sexy, absolutely, but sexist, I disagree, and we'll talk about why. So here from Bloomberg Opinion from Tae Kim, who was on Twitter talking about how ashamed he is to play these games. He can't, you know, he doesn't want people to see him playing Tomb Raider because of how sexy it can get. All right, man, well, then don't let people... What are you talking about? I've played Tomb Raider with girls in the room, and they go, hey, this is pretty cool. She's kind of hot. Like, what world are you living in where you think most girls I know are not big prudes and go, oh, disgusting, I can't believe it. These guys seem to live in some weird little sphere of their own creation. They're shut off from the rest of the world. Anyway, Tae Kim puts this out, and he's talking about the business of video games. Again, this is a business website. So I guess he's making the argument that the video game world needs to shape up in order to make more money, which I think video games are making a lot of money. In fact, a lot of these sexist games he talks about are selling pretty darn well. Let's talk about it. The video game business has a long and troubled history of sexism and gender stereotypes. I won't disagree with that. That's reasonable to say. And maybe there was a point in time where it was very hard to find a good female protagonist, where they were only eye candy. But I don't think that's the truth anymore. I think now we have a lot of great female protagonists. He disagrees. A round of scandals that has nothing to do with the characters in the game. Says that the industry has a lot to do to fix its culture and repair its reputation. I think the gaming culture's reputation is not... I mean, maybe he's right. I guess gaming culture does have a reputation of like, oh, it's a disgusting boys club. Anyone who plays video games is awful. But I don't think the problem is the culture itself. I think the problem is just people from the outside looking in who don't get it. Who go, well, aren't those video games all eye candy for teenagers? And you go, no, there's a lot of stuff in there that's has a lot of deeper themes and competent storytelling. I don't think that's the culture's fault, but it is mass market entertainment intended for young men. I think a little bit of titillation makes sense. I have the same argument for comic books. People say, we got to change comic books. Why are their costumes so tight? I go, because it's for 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds, whatever. Young men who are, going through puberty, and they're like, which comic book do I want to read? Do I want to read the one where a bunch of guys thrust their groins at each other, which is fun. I love Batman. But don't deny that when Batgirl just shows up shaking her ass in your face, you go, you know what? I like those Batgirl issues. There's something about it. I don't know why. I don't know why I always buy the Batgirl issues. Anyway, The situation isn't hopeless, as a hit release from Sony shows. There is a big market for games that portray women as smart and resourceful actors rather than pawns, victims, and objects of male desire. Oof. Let's see. So he talks about there was a girl at a BlizzCon conference who said, can you make some women characters who don't look like they stepped out of a Victoria's Secret catalog? There was a lot of booze. I mean, I'm mixed on that. I think that Warcraft, especially at the time, had that very obvious over-the-top fantasy aesthetic. Again, I hate to say it, these franchises are aimed at young men who like certain things, and they don't like them because they're being programmed by the evil manipulative media to like scantily clad women and big boobs. I think you're just primed as a young man playing a game where you beat shit up with a sword. You're like, man, I wish this game had hot chicks in it. I don't think that's unreasonable. After Microsoft had a party with scantily clad female dancers, Phil Spencer was forced to apologize. I think I was at that party. Is that the party I was at? Let me see. Okay, no, that was Game Developers Conference. I went to like a Halo party that had dancers, and I remember that journalists were freaking out. They're like, how could Halo have attractive women here? I mean, it's a mixed bag. I get it. I get that we're moving in the direction where you shouldn't. No, at Game Developer Conference, you shouldn't have a party with scantily clad women dancing around, because that's not a male-focused event. It should be like business. If you're doing a business event, you probably shouldn't have strippers and whatever else. I totally get that. But I don't connect that to the concept of the games. The games themselves. We'll see League of Legends is being sued. Activision Blizzard is being sued. I could talk about that. I think a lot of the Activision Blizzard. One guy's in trouble because he went to a hotel, someone else's hotel room that had a Cosby poster. It wasn't even his hotel room, and he's got to get fired for that. I don't want to talk. It's a complicated story. There are also signs of progress. In particular, Sony's blockbuster release, Horizon Zero Dawn, shows there's a huge market for games that don't denigrate women. Okay. God, that's a sentence. That's a sentence and a half. Now, let me say this. I've started playing Horizon Zero Dawn. This is the sequel. Forbidden West. I've started playing Zero Dawn, and I do really like it. I'm like, hey, this is a pretty great game. This is a pretty great game. And yeah, I guess you could say that she's not like, she doesn't have her boobs hanging out. She's still an attractive lady. I know some people are saying she's ugly. I think she looks fine. She's your typical red-haired, what do you want to call it, warrior goddess, Nordic kind of looking thing, Viking kind of looking thing. But the thing is, it's not that there's a huge market for games that don't denigrate women. It's that there's a huge market for open-world, competent action games with, like, good mechanics and quests and whatever. It has nothing to do... I mean, I hate to say it, I could almost make the argument that if she had more stuff hanging out, the game might have sold better. You don't know. I don't know either. I know that I personally, if you told me there's a Horizon mod where, she's got tig old bitties, I might download it. And they're gonna say, well, you're a pervert, you're a bad guy, you're setting video games back. I have to be honest. Do I have to feel bad about being honest? I don't want to feel bad about it. I'm a guy. I like seeing a lady with some stuff hanging out, and I'm not saying that it needs it. And I'll even say this game clearly tries to take its plot very seriously, even though the plot's a little bit silly and it's about robot dinosaurs and shit. Okay, maybe it's not appropriate for this game to have her butt hanging out. Would I argue against it? No, but that's just me. Okay. Now, Alloy, battle stuff, blah blah blah. Believable, inspirational hero. More than 10 million units sold. Fantastic. But characters like Alloy remain too rare among mainstream games. And here's where this article, you're like, buddy, get over yourself. What are you so worried about? There was another journalist who did this guy, Jason Schreier, who sometimes gets it right. But one time he was like talking about this game called Dragon's Crown. Let me see, Dragon's Crown. He was especially upset about, I believe, the Amazon character. And he basically, he said, this is disgusting. Anyone, I can't believe people play these games. Like, you should be ashamed. Can you imagine if somebody walked in and you were playing this? And I'm like, bro, it's supposed to be over the top. Like, it's kind of like a parody of this, like, over-the-top fantasy artwork. And also the guy who draws it, this is just kind of what he draws. And the guy who draws it is great. yeah, this is ridiculous, but it's like supposed to be kind of comical. The proportions this guy draws are comical. But Jason Schreier went, no, 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 this is, just the evil. Oh, I think he was upset about this lady as well. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Getting a little hot under their collar. He said, how could you play this? How could you play this game? This is not official art. This is a fan art, but still. He said, how could you look at that and not be offended? You know, what if your mom walked in the room? What if your girlfriend walked in the room? I'd go, if my girlfriend does not want me playing the games with the big titty sorceress, Gonskis, out of here. Out of here. What am I going to do with her? What am I going to do with her? You're gone. You're out. It's done so. All right? I'm a man. I have needs. I need this specifically. You don't like it? You're gone. You're done. But I guess some people do not have the same opinion as me. So he says, I find it uncomfortable playing Tomb Raider, Genshin Impact, or Bayonetta, all of which feature female characters in skimpy outfits. Now, what was the most recent Tomb Raider? Was there one in, like, 2021? Okay. Is that 25th anniversary? Did she look like that in the game? Tomb Raider Reloaded, Tomb Raider Eclipse? What do you call it? Because the last Tomb Raider I remember, she wasn't looking like... Let's see, Definitive Edition. She's wearing clothes? What are you talking about? Hold on, Tomb Raider Definitive? Is that what it's called? What is she? What is this? What is wrong with this? I think this guy. See, here's the thing. I think a lot of these guys write these articles. I don't think this guy plays Tomb Raider. I think this guy is basing his understanding of Tomb Raider being over-sexualized based on what it was in the 90s. I don't think this guy's played Tomb Raider in the last 10, 15 years or whatever. Because how are you going to tell me this is over the top? This is the same as Alloy. I mean, what? You want her to wear like a shirt instead of just whatever this is? I don't know what you call this. Undershirt? You want like a big... Should she wear a jacket? She doesn't have anything hanging out. If anything, you can make these a little bigger. I wouldn't complain. So he talks about Tomb Raider, then Genshin Impact. Now, Genshin Impact is some weeb shit. Let's be real. Female characters. Let me see. What do the Genshin Impact characters look like that I gotta be so offended? What is it? That's a great sized picture. This is offensive. This is nothing. What? Why are you offended by this? This is just stylish. What? What is it? What? Why is he offended by this? Let's see. Genshin Impact. Girls of Genshin Impact Part 1? I don't see anything hanging out. I don't know what this guy's talking about. Okay, I mean, yeah, like, obviously they're drawn in that weeb style to be kind of cute or whatever, and these ones look 12, so we're not going to talk about that. But, I don't think this is over the top, like, he's trying to make it sound like, oh my god, how sexualized, can you believe it? I don't think he played these games. All of them are covered up. This one's the most scantily clad, maybe, but she's like a ninja, so clearly she's wearing less clothes, so she can do high ninja kicks or whatever. I mean, these are like fancy, cool outfits. I think the guys who write these games do not actually play video games. Let's be clear, we saved the best for last. Bayonetta. Okay. So we're talking about sexist depictions of women in the world's top franchises, cringe-inducing, using familiar gender tropes of the damsel in distress, and we're talking about Bayonetta. This is why these guys always fail. First of all, let's be clear. Bayonetta is not like a AAA game. It's like AA. People like Bayonetta, but it's not selling nearly as much as some of these top franchises. Okay? But let's also take a look. Bayonetta creator, who is Bayonetta artist. Let's be clear. What's she look like? Oh, we don't have a picture of her. She might be one of those artists who hides her stuff. But let's be clear. The Bayonetta Hamari Shimazaki, character designer for Bayonetta. I don't think we're gonna get a picture of her. Oh wait, we might get a picture of her. Is that her? I don't know if that's actually her. That looks like it might be her. Yeah, Bayonetta developer diary. So a lady made this character. This supposedly horribly offensive character that we're not allowed to like. What are you talking about? So here's what it comes down to is Why is we're mixing up two terms, and that's what this writer is doing, and that's what the problem is. Is he's saying that these games are sexist. Real quick, just so I know what I know what it means, but I want to get like a dictionary definition of something. Characterized or showing prejudice, stereotyping, discrimination against women on the basis of sex. Okay, so here's the problem is, we have characters that are attractive. So you got to tell me why that's sexist. Like, are you saying video games are less sexist if the women are unattractive? Like, if we made Lara Croft fat, would you go, well, there you go. There you go. Or is it just like, it's always this most boring, like, let's be clear, this is not sexist. It would be sexist if, like, I don't know, how would you make this sexist? If, like, I guess you took a game that, yeah, is about, you know, being a tough treasure hunter or whatever, and you said it was like super realistic, but she also had like, you know, H-cup breasts swinging around, I'd be like, okay, well, you're lying about what a realistic portrayal. If you said like that was realistic or something, maybe you'd have a point. But ultimately, I mean, we're looking at what, Bayonetta, and what are you saying? Like any girl who dresses up, is that sexist? Let's take a look at some cosplay. So like, is this girl being unfairly objectified now? Like, do you feel bad for her? Like, oh my god, I can't believe you dressed up as this obvious example of the male gaze. You're being tricked and objectified to wear this sexist costume. I think that women like to look sexy. I think a lot of women see a sexy character and they're like, that's cool, I'd like to be sexy like her and cool like her. I don't think they look at it and go, I wish she was like fat and had smaller breasts. I wish guys found her unattractive. Like, this is such a backwards article. This is something you would write if you're like, as like a, I don't know, 16-year-old feminist writing your first article. Like, I know how to stop sexism. We need more women who, you know, have a strong jawline, smaller breasts, and don't have a lot of skin showing. Like, there's room for that. You just say there's room for that. You don't have to say then that Genshin Impact, and I'm trying to wrap my head around how this is sexist. Because I see women who love to play as these. They're like, yeah, I like playing as the cool character and she kicks high. I understand it's a cartoonish fantasy. And it's not like these women, again, have like giant cartoonish sized knockers. This one doesn't have any. Again, I think it's a 10-year-old, and I don't want to talk about it. But why do they always make these little kid characters? Japanese, man, I don't trust them. Or I don't know if they make this in China or what. I don't trust any of them. Now I'm being racist. I went from sexist to racist in the span of a second. Point is, guys, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Why are we letting these weirdo journalists? Again, he says that it's a gaming culture problem. I don't think it is. I think the problem is these guys on the outside looking in, making these wild assumptions about what video games are, saying, Lara Croft, how sexist. I'm like, what is this, 1995? Did you just finish your PC copy of Tomb Raider 2 and you didn't like that her triangle-shaped tits were a little too big? Like, Lara Croft now has evolved into being like a strong female character, and I don't hear anybody complaining about this being sexist. Genshin Impact, you're mad at Bayonetta. What are we doing here, people? You're driving me nuts. You're driving me nuts, Bloomberg, Tae Kim. Look, if you don't like it, if you're worried your wife's going to see you playing Tomb Raider and divorce you, then fine, that's your problem. But for the rest of us, take your hands off my video games, buddy. Take my hands off the video games, put them on some boobs. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Are video games sexist? Or can video games just be sexy? Is it okay? Is it okay to admit that the primary demographic for these games are males between the ages of 18 and 35 who come into it and they go, you know what, man? I hate to say it, I get boners sometimes. And I would not mind playing a video game that occasionally I look at the girl running her little ass across the screen and I go, that's a good looking gal. That's a good looking gal. Are we bad people when we do that? I respect women. I want women to have every advantage in the world. Okay? With Bayonetta having her tits swinging around when she's doing her demon killing, you can't take that from me or I'll kill you. I'll kill you. I don't know what we're doing. Like and subscribe, everybody. We got more videos coming soon. Don't take my waifus away. Makes me very upset. Very upset. How dare you, Bloomberg? How dare you?